2016. I told you it's going to be about documentation, and the first documentation is about me, Boo Lee. See, first it was Boo. When I first was born, I was the only child. My mother thought she wasn't going to have any kids, and when I was born, she was expecting a girl, and I was a boy, so that was a little upsetting. But my uncle, which is her uncle, he wanted a boy. So he made sure that I got everything I wanted. And I was so bad. And I cursed a lot. At 4 years old, I cursed out the ice cream man. If you think I'm lying, you ask Marvin Doohickey Neal. He'll tell you the truth about me, because he been knowing me. The popsicle man wouldn't stop. Then when he did stop, I told him I had to go in and get some money. And when I went in to get some money, and my mother jumped on me up telling me about money don't grow on trees. And therefore, he was out there waiting, and by the time I got through getting the money from my mother, he took off and left down the street. I started cussing and calling them MFL, MFBs, and MFs, and all kind of curse words that I can't want to use now on this video. And it was so bad. Then when he stopped down to the next corner where the guys was out there, the boys, the kids was out there waiting on him, I told him to stop that SOB and tell that SOB I need some ice cream. And when he did stop, and I ran out and caught him, all the neighbors came out of the house. What's wrong with Boo? Somebody made Boo mad. And the first somebody I seen when I got my popsicle, and the popsicle wasn't but a nickel, was Miss Land. And I noticed everybody came out on their porch, because I was hollering and screaming and cursing so much and loud. Everybody didn't know what was going on. And she asked me on the way back, Boo, are you okay? Everything all right? And I said, I was just sucking on my popsicle. Yes, ma'am, Miss Land, everything okay. She said, well, Lillian down at the end of the street. Lillian is my mother. She's down at the end of the street, she's waiting on you. And I knew I was gonna catch a whooping. I knew that. I knew I was gonna catch a beating for embarrassing her and me like that. On a Sunday at that, after church at that. And when I got close to her, she told me, throw that goddamn popsicle down. And I knew I was gonna catch a whooping, so I just put it in my mouth and finished sucking the rest of my popsicle. And by the time I did that, she grabbed me and just started whooping my butt all the way in the house. And all of my friends, including Marvin Neal, they came down there. And my mother was whooping me, and they was out there listening to me hollering and screaming and crying, and my mother said, what y'all want? And Leotis Durham and Marvin Neal both said, well, we just want to know, Miss Lillian, can Boo come out and play? Them Negroes know darn well I couldn't come out and play. They was there listening to me catch a whooping. She said, no, they can't come out and play. Now y'all get away from here. That was the beginning of Boo, before it became a Boo Lee. See, Boo and Boo Lee is almost like Dolomite. Only difference is I wasn't kicking no butt. I wasn't a fighter. And when I got in school, in the 2nd grade, I was there opening the boys' bathroom, letting girls look inside the boys' bathroom, and everybody in the hall was looking at the boys. All the girls looking at the boys use the bathroom as I opened up the door. I did all kind of mischievous things as coming up. And then when I got in the 3rd grade, John Tankersley will tell you about this. There was a girl called Beverly Dobbin, and she had this long, pretty hair, and I used to play with her hair. And if anybody sit behind that Beverly Dobbin, I was gonna holler, I was gonna scream, and I was gonna curse them out in elementary school in the 3rd grade. And John Tankersley will vouch you and tell you that's no lie. Then when I got over to Turner, because they had to move some of us around because Black Sheep was too crowded, so then when we got to Turner, I got in a man's room named Mr. Edward Perry. And Mr. Perry, he whooped your butt. And that was when I first started catching a real butt whooping away from my home. And this man would whoop me I never had a man to hit me and whoop me because my daddy stayed up there in Lansing, Michigan. And my stepfather, he never did hit me or whoop me because he figured my mother did enough of that, so he didn't need to do that. And when I got in Mr. Perry's room, John Tankersley would vouch for that, Walter Richards would also vouch for that, Grady Johnson would also vouch for that. Mr. Perry used to have all the people who didn't do their homework, he used to put them down and sit them in a circle and give them a book. And they would sit down with that book, and they wouldn't sit down, they'd get in a circle and they stand up and they bend over with that book, and then he'd pop them on the butt with that paddle, but you couldn't look around. You don't know who you're gonna hit in that circle. Those are the kids who didn't do their homework. I stayed in the circle, because every day I didn't do no homework, and I enjoyed catching a whooping. When I got into 5th grade, Mr. Marshall, Lawrence Marshall, John Tankersley, Walter Richards gonna vouch for everything I'm saying, and Grady Johnson, because they followed me all the way. And Mr. Marshall used to whoop me so bad, and all of it is acting bad in school. Not doing my homework. Not doing what the teacher told me to do. And when Mr. Marshall got in the 5th grade, he used to whoop me so bad, he put whips on my butt. And a boy named Ron Lane told my mother about how Mr. Marshall was whooping me. And my mother asked me to put my pants down, and she seen the whips, and she called Mr. Marshall. My mother never went to the school. Never went to the school. And told Mr. Marshall, and Mr. Marshall cut down on the whooping, and then it kind of showed me that my mother cared, which I know she always did, but let me know somebody cared, and it started me back to doing the right thing. Because when I got in the 6th grade, I knew how to act. I was in Mr. Roland Brown class. Again, Walter Richards, John Tankersley, Grady Johnson, all 3 of us, we all followed each other. And when I got in Mr. Roland Brown class, hey, I didn't catch no whooping, because I learned I'm gonna mind. But then when I got to Miller, I acted fool. I'm gonna show you my card when I get there. I made straight F. And I'm saying all of this to let you know anybody can change. If somebody like me can change, anybody can change. I knew I was bad. People thought I was when I got to Miller, I made straight F for 1.5 years. And I will show you the card at the end of the video. That Miss Moore had to give me a special promotion. And when she gave me that special promotion, then that let me know somebody cared. And from then on, I started doing my homework. That's when I got with the class of 1968. Only reason why I didn't finish with 68, I love that class. They helped me out a lot. The reason why I didn't finish in 68, because I'd have been 20 years old, and I'd have been too old to be on the swimming team. But then, when Miss Moore gave me that special promotion, I started doing my homework, started going to class. I was so bad over at Miller, Mr. Klein caught me one day and asked me, Boo Lee, come to my office. I thought I'm gonna catch a whooping for skipping class. He knew I was skipping class. He said, man, close the door. Close the door. He said, now go in your locker there and give me some permits. I found out that's all he wanted was some permits. I said, how many books you want? 1 or 2? He said, Boo Lee, that's the reason why we ain't got no damn permits upstairs in the office, because you got them all in your goddamn locker. Go just give me 1 book, man. And I was so bad at Miller. Teachers like Miss McDaniel would give me a permit just to get out the class so everybody could have a class. But I was that bad, man. But I changed. Want to know when? No, I didn't change at Yates. I got smart at Yates. I found out, hey man, the only thing you need to do is have credits to get a high school diploma. Oh man, that's cool. Then over at Yates, I start writing my own schedule. I found out who was the easiest teachers to work with so I can get a credit. Then I signed myself in their class. And when I go in that class, because I got good handwriting, by the way. My handwriting is good. That's the reason why they let me go with them permits. They knew I was forging them, but they looked good. And I did have the permit. But when I got to Yates, I find out that, oh, you need credits to graduate to get your high school diploma. Okay, no problem. I started finding out who's the easiest teacher, like Mr. McElroy, and a couple of other easy teachers that would just give you grades. I signed myself in their class. And when I go there with my attendance sheet for the be in their class, they say, well, I don't see your name down here. I say, well, here it is, I'm here. Yeah, I'm before period. I'm supposed to be here. Oh, okay then, I guess that time in. But I knew that teacher was gonna pass me. But then I was going to class. But all of a sudden, I fell off the boat again. And when I fell off the boat again, this time, it was in '65. I was so bad, I went to stay with my daddy up in Lansing, Michigan. I went to Lansing once before when I was over at Miller. But I only stayed a week. But this time, I say, I got to go and stay with my daddy up there in Michigan, and it's 20 below zero. When it gets 0 degrees weather up in Lansing, Michigan, that's good weather. And when I went to that school up there in Michigan, man, and I never been around white folks in integration, because we were coming from a segregated era. And when I was around that integration era, and them white folks didn't know nothing about Houston, Texas, and they asking me, hey, you from Texas? How many horses you got? Do y'all have a horse stable at school? God damn, man, what the goddamn hell? But they was ignorant. Wasn't nobody, didn't nobody know nothing about Houston. They had no Houston professional team in the '60s, not no NFL team, and they sure didn't have no baseball team. I no basketball team. So didn't nobody know nothing about Houston. And the Space Center wasn't there. So I couldn't stay. I said I was gonna stay when I left. I was gonna stay and make it happen. But when that snow got all the way up to the keyhole of the door, and my daddy told me that, hey, you want me to take you to school, you have to move all that snow out the way in front of that car. Man, I looked how far that driveway was. I told my daddy, never mind, I'm gonna walk. And when I started walking, it was like 20 below zero, and they talking about Chicago with that wind. Michigan got 5 lakes. Chicago only had 1 lake. Michigan got 5 lakes.
I told you I was a bad motor scooter over at Miller. Look at that. I started Miller in 1961. Look at all them F's, man. There it is. English, F. RWS, F. I mean, it's straight F, man. You can see for yourself. There it is right here. See, there you go right here. I flunked, I got retained in. And the next year, I made straight F's. I even asked Mr. Klein, why you give me an F, man? You know I come to PE, he say, Boo Lee, you walk the hall like you the principal around this goddamn place, man. You bring your card and show me that this F gonna make or break you, I'll change it to an A. I told Mr. Klein, never mind, man. I moved on around. Then, as you can see right here, a special promotion. This is Miss Moore. This is when a change came. Miss Moore gave me a special promotion. See, today, classes in school, I would be a dropout because I would get so disgusted and discouraged I would drop out. But during them days, teachers cared about individual students. So she said, let me give him a chance and give him a special promotion. She talked to Mr. Dawson, and they gave me a special promotion and gave me a teacher that could identify me with, and I went to Miss Tillman. And Miss Tillman showed me nothing but love. As you can see, that's when the change came around. I made D's, no F, and 3 C's. Then I stayed in Miss Tillman's room because they see it was working. And as you can see, I came up again out of Miss Tillman's room. And the grades improved. I only made 2 D's this time, no F's, and the rest of them C's. And then I went into Mr. English room. And I made a decent grade, no F's, 1 D, 2 D's, and an average of B, a C, a C. I even made a